Every rival's story, explained from Kanto all the way to Paldea. Forget everything you thought you knew about Pokemon rivals. They're not just stepping stones, they're the broken protagonist, the hero who is fighting his own secret battle, and the real driving factor on why you became a champion. This video will cover every rival's backstory onto why they became a trainer, and their hidden battles and fights, which goes on the background which we only notice if we dig deep enough, and this video will do exactly that. The very first founding father of the rival troupe is none other than Gary Oak from Kanto, the original rival. The professor's grandson, Blue, is not just a rival. He's the foundational blueprint for all who followed, establishing the standard for competitive dynamics within the Pokemon world. From the very first moments in Pallet Town, when the player character selects a starter Pokemon, Blue immediately chooses the one with the type advantage, initiating an immediate sense of competition. As Professor Oak's grandson, he carries an inherent sense of superiority, an intense drive to meet, or even exceed, the expectations placed upon him. His dialogue is consistently sharp and dismissive of you, and singularly focused on achieving greatness. His ambition extends beyond gotta catch 'em all. He aims to become the champion, exhibiting a willingness to overcome any perceived obstacle in his path. In Oak's lab, this is where it all begins. Professor Oak introduces Blue as your rival since you were a baby. When you pick your starter, Blue immediately snatches the one with the type advantage, starting the stage for a lifelong rivalry. His first words to you after choosing his Pokemon are cocky, saying, "My Pokemon looks a lot stronger." He then challenges you to your very first Pokemon battle right there in the lab. If he wins, he'll gloat, "Yeah, am I great or what?" If he loses, he'll quickly dismiss it, saying that he picked the wrong Pokemon. Regardless, he ends with his iconic, "Smell you later." This initial encounter perfectly establishes his arrogant, competitive nature. Blues picks your counter-type starter. If you chose Bulbasaur, he has a Charmander. We next see him at Route 22. Just outside Viridian City, Blue challenges you again with a stronger team, including a Pidgey. He'll ask, "What? Why do I have 2 Pokemon? You should catch some more too." This battle reinforces his early lead and his dismissive attitude, often ending with him telling you to go train some more. Blue's team at Route 22 consists of a Pidgey and your counter-type starter. Next up, we meet Blue in Cerulean City on the infamous Nugget Bridge. After you've gained a few levels and new Pokemons, Blue appears on Nugget Bridge. He's still full of himself. This battle is rather hard due to the number of battles that you have faced on Nugget Bridge, but after beating Blue, it shows that you're catching up. His dialogue remains condescending, implying you're nowhere near as good as me, pal. Even after beating him, his attitude has not changed. Like here on the Nugget Bridge, he's still so full of himself. Next, we meet Blue on the SSN. On the luxury ship, Blue challenges you again. His team is growing, and he's becoming a more serious threat. He's still dismissive, but the battles are getting tougher, indicating his relentless training. Blue's team on the SS Anar, Pidgeotto, Raticate, Kadabra, and your counter-type starter. The Raticate would play a big role in Blue's journey, which brings us to the next fight in Lavender Town. This encounter is a pivotal moment in Blue's character development. He is found mourning, and while not explicitly stated, it is strongly suggested that he is grieving the loss of his Raticate, a Pokemon he used previously, but is absent from his team thereafter. He says that, "What brings you here? You don't have any dead Pokemon." This is in the original Red and Blue games. Now, this creepypasta of us killing Blue's Raticate would be great character development for our rival. It simply isn't the case. This theory was debunked years ago, and Blue's still that cocky rival with almost no character development, so people have wished that the Raticate theory would be true to give our rival some depth. So his team at Lavender Town would be Pidgeotto, Growlithe, Execute, Kadabra, and his starter. Next encounter with Blue is at Sylph Co. Blue is encountered having already defeated Team Rocket, showcasing his amazing strength and efficiency. He's still condescending, telling you, "You're not good enough to play with us big boys." Pause. Another battle starts, bringing both trainers closer to the Pokemon League challenge. Blue's team at Sylph Co has all of his Pokemons fully evolved, except the Kanto bird. The final battle happens with Blue at Victory Road. This marks the final hurdle before the Elite Four. Blue is presented as strong, confident, and fully prepared for the ultimate challenge. He's still competitive, but the tone is shifting towards the ultimate champion battle. Blue's team at Victory Road consists of a Pidgeot, Alakazam, Executor, Growlithe, Gyarados, and a new Rhydon in your counter-type starter. After you, the player makes it through the Indigo Plateau, you have the ultimate confrontation. Blue has already claimed the champion title, having defeated the Elite Four just moments before the player character arrives. His defeat in this final battle is a crushing blow to his ambition. It signifies a monumental win for us, the player. He's shocked and frustrated by his loss, but even then, Professor Oak steps in to remind him of the importance of trust and love for Pokemon, a lesson Blue seems to take to heart. Blue's team as the champion consists of a Pidgeot, Alakazam, Executor, Arcanine, Gyarados, and a new Rhydon in your counter-type starter. Specific Pokemon in his team vary slightly based on your starter choice. After the experience of losing the champion title, Blue does not simply fade away. He assumes the role of a gym leader in Viridian City after Giovanni went out of commission, transitioning into a position of guidance rather than pure competition. This shift demonstrates significant maturity. While he retains his competitive spirit, his focus broadens from being the absolute best to helping others achieve their potential. This transformation from pure competition to a more mature form of mentorship showcases that even seemingly one-dimensional characters can undergo significant development, setting a precedent for how future rivals might evolve not just in strength, but in purpose. Blue becomes the gym leader during the times of Generation 2. Pokemon Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. This is where we see him again alongside Red. In these games, Blue is invited to be a leader at the Battle Tree in the Alola region. He and Red are presented as legendary trainers from Kanto, and the player can battle either of them after becoming the Alola champion. He appears to have matured and become more composed, often offering insightful advice to the player. So while he started as the brash rival, Blue eventually settles into a role as a respected, albeit still competitive trainer, and even a gym leader, before venturing to new regions like Alola to continue his journey as a powerful force in the Pokemon world. At the Battle Tree, Blue also has a pool of Pokemon, and his team can be quite varied, often including his classic mainstays, and sometimes a starter Pokemon he might have picked if the player chose another. Some of the Pokemon he can use includes Pidgeot, which can Mega Evolve into Mega Arcanine, Alakazam, Machamp, Executor, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Tyranitar, Rhyperior. He also has access to the Kanto starter final evolutions, and may use one of them with their Mega Evolution if it complements his team strategy. Silver in Generation 2. Silver makes a dramatic entrance, immediately establishing his ruthless nature by stealing a Pokemon from Professor Elm's lab. He is characterized by his cold demeanor, his feeling for any perceived weakness, and his unwavering belief that only absolute strength holds value. His philosophy, encapsulated by his signature line, "Weak Pokemon are useless. Only strong Pokemon matter," stands in stark contrast to the player character's journey, which emphasizes friendship and the bond between trainer and Pokemon. Silver's first appearance sums up his character in the beginning of the game, which slowly transforms. He's seen peeking into Professor Elma's lab, and shoves you aside when you go to talk to him. He then steals a Pokemon, and declares his intention to be the world's greatest Pokemon trainer. His chosen starter is always the one with a type advantage over yours. His first battle in Cherry Grove City is the real introduction to his aggressive style and distaste for weakness. He'll say, "Are you happy you won?" if he loses, or "That was a waste of time" if he wins, before declaring, "My name's, I'm going to be the world's greatest Pokemon trainer." Next we see him at Azalea Town at the Slowpoke Well. You find Silver here, expressing his disgust for Team Rocket's perceived weakness and incompetence. He battles you again, still focused on raw power. This encounter highlights his hatred for Team Rocket, which stems from his father's failure. Silver's team at Azalea Town, Ghastly, Zubat, your counter-type starter. The next encounter is at the Burn Tower in Ecruteak City. Silver is found training, still singularly focused on cultivating strength. He's pushing himself and his Pokemon, but his methods are still harsh. He says that he's at the Burn Tower to catch the legendary Pokemon in Ecruteak City. Silver's team at the Burn Tower, Ghastly, Magnemite, Zubat, and your counter-type starter. Our next encounter with the Red Brat happens in Olvine City. When we go to enter the gym, we are stopped by Silver, saying that the gym leader isn't here and he's taking care of a sick Pokemon at the lighthouse. His cruel nature also states that Pokemon should be let go. A Pokemon that can't battle is worthless. The player then goes to Cianwood City to get the medicine for the gym leader for his sick Ampharos. There we can find someone by the name of Kirk, and Kirk says that Silver bullied him into giving his Sneasel to Silver. And Kirk also offers us his other Pokemon, Shuckle for safekeeping. A rival of this level has never been in the Pokemon franchise, which makes Silver's character really unique. Our next encounter is at Mahogany Town at the Team Rocket HQ. He witnesses Team Rocket's incompetence firsthand, solidifying his distaste for their methods, even though he's more or less like another Team Rocket member. He sees their reliance on numbers and schemes as a sign of weakness, reinforcing his belief in individual strength. We meet with the champion at Goldenrod City at the Radio Tower. Silver expresses frustration at Team Rocket's resurgence and his own inability to stop them alone. Lance's intervention at this point is crucial, as Lance imparts the wisdom that true strength comes from trust, not just raw power. This statement plants a vital seed of doubt in Silver's mind. While the player character battles Silver, it is Lance's direct philosophical guidance that acts as a catalyst for Silver's change. Silver observes the player's success through friendship and Lance's wisdom, leading him to question his own beliefs. This illustrates that character development is not always linear or solely self-driven. External influences, particularly from respected figures, can be instrumental in guiding an individual towards a path of redemption and self-improvement. He wanted to take down Team Rocket at the radio tower himself, so he deceives the player into going somewhere else, but he then ends up battling you, so see who gets to fight against Team Rocket. Silver's team at Goldenrod Radio Tower, Golbat, Haunter, Magnemite, Sneasel, and your counter-type starter. After Silver loses to you, his character goes through this big change, and he says this, "I don't understand. Is what that Lance guy said true? That I don't treat Pokemon properly? Love, trust. Are they really what I lack? Are they keeping me from winning? I just don't understand. But it's not going to end here. Not now. Not because of this. I won't give up my dream of becoming the world's best Pokemon trainer." You, the player, constantly beating Silver and Lance, putting some brain cells into him, really made him do a 180 on his character slowly but surely. The final encounter before the champion fight is at Victory Road. Silver battles you one last time before the Pokemon League. His team is stronger, but his demeanor has subtly shifted. He's still competitive, but there's a hint of respect, and he wants to figure out what Lance meant when they fought. Silver's team at Victory Road, Golbat, Alakazam, Gengar, Sneasel, Magneton, your counter-type starter. After the League, we get to see Silver at Mount Moon, which is post-game. This location marks the culmination of Silver's transformation. He is seen training, reflecting on his journey, and admitting that he is still not strong enough. Crucially, he acknowledged that Pokemon are not merely tools. He has begun to grasp the significance of the bond between trainer and Pokemon. Silver's team at Mount Moon post-game rematch, Golbat, Alakazam, Haunter, Sneasel, Magneton, your counter-type starter. And he says that he's going to the Dragon's Den to train. If you actually head to the Dragon's Den, then you can see Silver, who is training outside of the den. The master of the Dragon's Den refuses to train Silver, and then Lance and Claire show up right there. And there, Silver challenges Lance to a battle. Claire suggests that she teams up with Silver, but he disses her and teams up with us instead. He only uses his starter, his Gengar, and his newly evolved Crobat. This internal change is subtly yet powerfully visualized by his Golbat evolving into Crobat, an evolution that requires high friendship. This visual metaphor beautifully demonstrates that his actions, such as caring for his Pokemon, are now aligning with the philosophy he once vehemently rejected. He can also be rematched at the Pokemon League on Mondays and Wednesdays after completing a post-game side quest involving Mount Moon and Dragon's Den. Silver's Pokemon team evolves from aggressive, powerful creatures to those that require friendship to reach their full potential, symbolizing his profound internal shift. His dialogue also softens, transitioning from pure disdain to grudging respect, and eventually, a more reflective and introspective tone. His journey is a powerful narrative of redemption, proving that even those who start on a dark path can find their way to a more compassionate understanding of strength. We finally see him again at the Indigo Plateau where, right before going to the League, he challenges us to a battle, and this time he accepts his loss, and he says that he needs to believe in himself more, and he even wishes us good luck, saying to heal your Pokemon before challenging the League. Silver is one of the only rivals in the whole of Pokemon that we see have a real character development throughout the games. Around the ending of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, if you go to the professor's lab, his assistant says to you, "Guess what? The person who took Professor Elm's Pokemon has come back to return it." That's the last thing I expected. Guess what Professor Elm said to him? "It seems that your Pokemon already likes you so much. For a Pokemon, the best happiness is to be with someone it loves. I think it should stay with you." Isn't that moving? It made me cry, but I saw his face as he passed me. He looked so happy. While researching for this video, this piece of information, which I didn't know existed all this time, about Silver made me emotional for a rival in a Pokemon game, which is crazy. Silver's the best written rival in all of Pokemon. Changed my mind in the comments. He went from a cold-hearted trainer who would steal Pokemon to now having a Crobat and saying to believe in your Pokemon more. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, there's actually a special event where the player is able to travel 3 years into the past, right after Giovanni is defeated during the events of Red and Blue. We see Giovanni and Silver interacting on Route 22. In the Japanese version of the games, he actually calls Giovanni Dad, which would confirm their relationship. This explains so much about him why Silver hates Team Rocket so much. He has such misguided thoughts about strength and Pokemon at the start of the games. All of it can be traced back to Giovanni, abandoning Silver 3 years prior to Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Silver, being the kid, is trying to understand how Giovanni failed with Team Rocket. And Giovanni says that putting together the strength and potential of a group of people is how you get a huge amount of power, but admits that he failed to use his subordinate's potential. The best Silver isn't satisfied with his answer and just doesn't understand him. This is where he vows that he will never become someone like his father, a person that he views to be weak and a coward. This is where Silver makes the goal of wanting to become the strongest trainer out there, and ultimately influences his personality and character for the events of Generation 2. Knowing Silver's backstory, when you go through and play the games, adds so much to it. When you know why he has such a strong hatred of Team Rocket and why he endeavors for strength, it makes his story so so much better. The revelation that Silver is Giovanni's son is central to his character. This lineage is not only a plot twist, it is the core of his being. He is haunted by his father's failure and abandonment, believing Giovanni's downfall stemmed from weakness, perhaps an attachment to Team Rocket, or an insufficient level of ruthlessness. Silver's driving motivation is to surpass Giovanni, not by following his footsteps, but by proving that his own path, one of absolute emotionless strength, is superior. This struggle with his identity and his father's legacy is a powerful aspect of his story, as children of powerful or infamous figures often grapple with defining themselves, either by embracing or vehemently rejecting their parents' influence. Silver chooses rejection, but initially it manifests as a twisted version of his father's philosophy. His journey is ultimately about discovering his own definition of strength, distinct from Giovanni's. Silver's character arc is one of the most compelling in the series, depicting transformation from a villainous figure to one seeking redemption. Through repeated encounters with the player character and the insightful guidance of Lance, he gradually begins to question his rigid philosophy and turns over a new leaf, placing his name as the best rival in all of Pokemon. Generation 3, Wally the Frail Newbie. Wally is introduced as a timid, sickly boy from Petalburg City, initially too weak to even catch his own Pokemon. He relies on the player character and gym leader Norman to assist him in catching his very first Pokemon, a Ralts. This immediate reliance sets him apart from previous rivals, positioning him not as a direct competitor, but as someone the player character actively helps. His initial dialogue is hesitant and shy, reflecting both his physical limitations and a lack of confidence. Wally's journey is punctuated by key encounters that highlight his remarkable growth. The first encounters at Petalburg City. Your first meeting with Wally is unique. He's too weak to venture into the tall grass alone, so Norman asks you to help him catch his first Pokemon, Ralts. This act of kindness establishes a bond that is more mentorship than rivalry. Wally is shy and grateful, a stark contrast to the cocky rivals before him. We find out that Wally is leaving his home and family in Pedleburg to go stay with his aunt and uncle in Verdant Turf Town because of the air quality of the town. He came to the gym to ask Norman to help him catch a Pokemon so he doesn't get lonely when he moves away. It's never stated on what exactly Wally's illness is in any of the games, but it's mentioned that being in areas with clear air seems to help his condition. It's been speculated that Wally suffers from either asthma or some form of bronchitis as a respiratory disease. Looking at the map of Gen 3 shows that Mount Chimney constantly spews ash and subparticles over most of Hoenn. It makes sense why Wally would be moving to Verdant Turf Town to recover from this health issue. As Verdant Turf Town is free of volcanic ash due to wind patterns, this would make it the perfect place for him to rest and recuperate from a breathing-related problem. The next encounter is at Mauville City, where he talks to his uncle that he wants to battle the gym leader. Wally surprises you by challenging you to a battle in Mauville City. He's still relatively weak, but his growing strength is evident. He expresses a clear desire to become stronger, a quiet determination, and despite his frail beginnings, Wally possesses an extraordinary inner strength and quiet determination. He surprises everyone by leaving home to embark on his own Pokemon journey. His motivation is not to become the strongest in a competitive sense, but rather to overcome his own weaknesses and prove his capability. Wally's initial frailty is not merely a plot device. It serves as a powerful metaphor. His journey is a direct representation of overcoming a personal illness or weakness, not just physically, but in terms of self-assurance. This suggests that Pokemon battles and the journey itself can serve as a therapeutic and empowering process for characters facing internal nor external struggles. Unlike other rivals who begin from a position of strength or overt competitiveness, Wally starts from a point of vulnerability, making his eventual strength a more inspiring and emotionally resonant achievement. And this emphasizes that growth is not always about competition, but fundamentally about self-improvement. We don't see Wally for a while. The next time we see him is at Victory Road. This encounter marks his defining moment. Wally stands as the final challenge before the Elite Four. No longer a timid boy, but a powerful trainer commanding a fully evolved Gardevoir and a formidable team. He expresses gratitude to the player character for inspiring him and pushing him to grow. His battle here is intense, showcasing his strategic thinking and the deep bond he shares with his Pokemon. The red spider lilies that bloom around him in this location have been theorized to symbolize the death of his sickly, weak self and his reincarnation as a strong, capable trainer. Wally's team at Victory Road: Altaria, Roselia, Delcatty, Magneton, Gardevoir, and in Omega, Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. His team is even stronger, featuring a Mega Gallade. And auras after you defeat Norman. You'll run into Wally and his father, not uncle, in Pedleburg City after the gym battle. Norman comments on how Wally is looking better and getting stronger, and his dad thanks you for all your help with motivating and teaching him about a Pokemon, and hence as his appreciation, he gives the player HM Surf. Wally then says goodbye to his dad, and the player joins him in traveling to Mauville City. Once the player and Wally leave, Wally's father and Norman have sort of a heart-to-heart about their kids, talking about how it makes them both happy and a little bit sad to see their children growing up. After the Delta episode, where the player helps Wally get his Mega Keystone back, Wally can be found at the Battle Resort. eager to participate in battles at the Battle Maison. He will challenge you to a rematch, and his team gets progressively stronger, eventually reaching high levels. This shows his continued dedication to self-improvement, even after achieving his initial goals. His team is also completely switched up. Wally's team at the post-game rematch in Oras features Altaria, Roseraid, Magnezone, Delcatty, and his Megaglade. Wally's story is a unique narrative about overcoming both physical and personal limitations. He learns that true strength extends beyond physical prowess, encompassing courage, perseverance, and the unbreakable bonds forged with Pokemon. He becomes a symbol of what anyone can achieve through dedication and unwavering spirit. His relationship with the player character is unique. The player does not just battle him, but actively helps him catch his first Pokemon and serves as an ongoing inspiration. This dynamic means the player character's role extends beyond being a protagonist. They become a significant positive influence on the lives and development of others, embodying themes of mentorship and friendship rather than solely rivalry. Next up, Generation 4, Barry, the impatient friend, and the son of a frontier brain. Barry is a whirlwind of boundless energy, characterized by his constant rushing and impatience. He embodies the type of friend who is already halfway to the next town before a conversation has even concluded. This hyperactive personality directly translates into his battle style, aggressive, fast, and reckless. His iconic running gag of finding the player character for perceived slowness perfectly encapsulates his personality and his relentless drive for efficiency. Despite his impatience, Barry possesses deep ambition. He aspires to become the strongest trainer, following in the footsteps of his father, Palmer. This ambition fuels his journey. Yet unlike the more antagonistic Blue or Silver, his competition with the player character is consistently friendly and devoid of malice. He genuinely desires success for both himself and the player character. Barry's impatience is not merely a quirky trait, it is a direct manifestation of his underlying ambition and the unspoken pressure of being the son of a powerful frontier brain, Palmer. He is perpetually rushing because he feels a need to prove himself quickly, to live up to or even surpass his father's formidable reputation. This demonstrates that even friendly competition can be driven by deep-seated personal motivations and pressures, adding layers to a seemingly light-hearted character. Barry's journey is one of maturation rather than overcoming a dark past or physical ailment. He learns to temper his impatience with strategic thinking, gradually appreciating the journey itself as much as the destination. While he remains energetic, he evolves into a more focused and refined trainer. His father, Palmer, serves as a constant, subtle influence, acting as a benchmark for Barry's ambition. Barry represents a significant shift in the rival dynamic from Blue's pure antagonism and Silver's redemption arc. His relationship with the player character is consistently one of mutual support and friendly competition. His inherent good nature and the player's consistent presence foster a bond where both individuals push each other to improve without malice. This illustrates that rivalry in the Pokemon world can embody positive themes of friendship and shared ambition, demonstrating that competition does not have to be destructive, but can be a powerful force for collective growth and self-improvement. Our first encounter is at Twin Leaf Town and Route 201. Barry's introduction is immediate and energetic. He drags you into the tall grass, leading to an encounter with Wild Starly and Professor Rowan, who then gives you both starter Pokemon. Barry chooses the starter with a type advantage over yours. His first battle is on Route 201, where he's already boasting about his strength. Another early battle where Barry continues to push his aggressive style. He's still confident, but we are also pushing forwards. At Hardhome City, after another defeat, Barry starts doubting his technique, a subtle crack in his usual overconfidence. This is a key moment where his journey starts to become less about pure speed and more about reflection. Then we see him again in Pastoria City. After yet another loss, Barry calls you tough for the first time and admits, "I got beat because I was careless." This shows a growing awareness of his own flaws as a trainer. Our next encounter is at Canalave City. He finally admits that you're a bit better than him as usual, but still clings to the idea of surpassing you as champion. The next encounter with Barry at Lake Acuity in Platinum changes a lot of things about Barry, and this is the peak of his character development in Platinum. You find him after he's lost to Team Galactic Commander Jupiter. He describes Uxie as suffering and admits he isn't strong enough, and that just wanting to be the strongest trainer isn't enough either. This defeat profoundly shakes his confidence and forces him to reevaluate his approach. We then see him at Spear Pillar. Barry actually teams up with you to fight against Team Galactic's Jupiter and Mars. This shows his growth beyond pure competition, as he seeks revenge for his failure at Lake Acuity and works alongside you for a common goal. Our last encounter with Barry was at the Pokemon League. Barry challenges you at the Pokemon League, showcasing his fully realized team. He's still competitive, but his approach is more refined. Barry's team at the Pokemon League consists of Staraptor, Floatzel, Heracross, Roserade, Snorlax, your fully evolved starter. In the post-game, Barry can be found training at Stark Mountain during the week and at the fight area on weekends for battles. He even turns down challenging you at one point, acknowledging he needs to get stronger first, a stark contrast to his earlier impatience. He reveals he spent his journey dreaming of being like his dad, but now understands what being a trainer truly involves. His teams in these rematches are significantly stronger, with levels reaching up to 74. He can also team up with his father, Palmer, in double battles at the Battle Tower. Barry's Pokemon team, particularly his chosen starter, is a consistent presence throughout the game. His team grows steadily, incorporating powerful Pokemon like Staraptor and, in later rematches, Snorlax, visually representing his relentless pursuit of strength and his evolution as a trainer. His weird movesets and abilities in later battles have even been theorized to reflect his personality, as if he hastily threw on random items or moves, still learning and experimenting. Generation 5, we meet with Cheren and Bianca in Black and White. Unova introduces a unique dynamic with not one, but two main rivals who journey alongside the player character, each embodying distinct philosophies. Cheren is driven by an earnest pursuit of strength and knowledge. He explicitly aims to become the champion, and to fully comprehend the true meaning of Pokemon battles. He is serious, analytical, and constantly questions the world around him. His Pokemon team is balanced and strong, reflecting his methodical approach to battling. Bianca. Initially unsure of herself, Bianca embarks on her journey largely due to her father's encouragement. Her quest is one of independence and self-discovery. She eventually realized that her true strength lies not necessarily in battling prowess, but in her passion for Pokemon photography and research. Her Pokemon team is more varied, reflecting her curiosity and gentle nature. Their paths, while intertwined with the player characters, ultimately diverge. Cheren eventually becomes a gym leader in Black and White too, continuing his quest for strength and knowledge by guiding others. Bianca, on the other hand, becomes Professor Juniper's assistant, finding her true calling in supporting Pokemon research. The introduction of multiple rivals like Cheren and Bianca simultaneously, alongside N, marks a significant evolution in the rival system. This multi-perspective approach demonstrates that the Pokemon journey is not a singular path to becoming champion. Cheren's pursuit of strength and Bianca's search for self-discovery illustrate that success can be defined in various ways, from battling excellence or to finding one's true calling outside of traditional competition. This adds a thematic richness, showcasing the diverse ways individuals can interact with and find fulfillment within the Pokemon world. Bianca's journey, where she explicitly decides not to pursue the champion title but finds fulfillment in research, directly challenges the traditional become the strongest narrative. This personal growth redefines success as personal fulfillment and contribution, offering a more nuanced and relatable perspective for players who might not connect with the competitive aspect. The game literally starts with you, Cheren and Bianca, receiving your starter Pokemon from Professor Juniper via a gift box in your room. Cheren immediately picks the one strong against yours, while Bianca takes the one weak to yours. Your first battle is a chaotic three-way brawl that destroys the room. Bianca is amazed by Pokemon, while Cheren is more analytical, already questioning things. Cheren battles you in the trainer's school, eager to test his strength and learn more about battling. He's constantly pushing himself. Bianca battles you on Route 2. Later she challenges you at Castelia Gate, showing her progress and growing confidence. Nimbasa City at the Ferris wheel, we meet with N. While not a battle with Cheren or Bianca, this is a significant encounter with N, who challenges your understanding of Pokemon and their relationship with humans. He questions the very concept of Pokeballs. Cheren battles you on Route 4. Later he and Bianca are involved in a situation where a Team Plasma steals a girl's Pokemon. Cheren immediately runs off to help, showing his strong sense of justice, while Bianca stays with the girl. This highlights their different approaches to problems. Cheren battles you again on Route 5. N battles you at the very end of Chargestone Cave, continuing his philosophical challenge. After defeating the Pokemon League, Cheren can be found at the top floor of Victory Road, where he will accept challenges from you daily. This is where he truly embraces his role as a guide and a strong trainer, continuing his pursuit of strength. Cheren's team at the Victory Road rematch: Unpheasant, Leopard, Haxorus, Gigalith, Elemental, Monkey, your fully evolved starter. Bianca can be battled at Professor Juniper's lab on Saturdays and Sundays at the postgame. Her postgame team reflects her growth and her eventual role as Professor Juniper's assistant, and focusing on research and supporting others rather than just battling. Her team features a Stoutland, Chandelure, the Monkey, Musharna, Mienshao, and your weak-type starter. Now let's talk about N, the king of Team Plasma. N stands apart from all previous rivals due to his extraordinary ability to understand the hearts of Pokemon. He genuinely believes that Pokemon are suffering under human control and seeks to liberate them from what he perceives as servitude. He is a philosophical antagonist, challenging the very premise of the human-Pokemon relationship within the games. His battles are less about demonstrating strength and more about proving the validity of his ideals. N serves as the king of Team Plasma, unknowingly manipulated by his adoptive father, Getsis. He is a pure-hearted individual who genuinely believes he is working for the greater good, but his naivete renders him a pawn in Getsis' nefarious schemes. His journey is one of disillusionment and self-discovery as he witnesses the player character's deep bond with Pokemon and the true, manipulative cruelty of Getsis, and is the ultimate philosophical rival. His ability to understand Pokemon directly leads him to question the fundamental premise of the Pokemon world, humans capturing and battling Pokemon. This creates a deep ideological conflict with the player, moving beyond a simple power struggle. This shows that the games are capable of exploring complex ethical dilemmas, challenging players to consider the morality of their actions and the nature of their relationship with Pokemon, moving beyond simple good versus evil narratives. N's story is deeply tragic because he is a pure idealist unknowingly manipulated by his father, Getsis. His initial beliefs in Pokemon liberation are genuine, but Getsis' manipulation turns him into an unwitting antagonist. This highlights how good intentions can be twisted by malicious forces, and that even those who appear as villains might be victims themselves. N's ultimate realization and subsequent departure underscore themes of disillusionment, personal sacrifice, and the search for one's own truth, making him one of the most emotionally resonant rivals in the series. Each encounter with N is more than just a battle. It is a debate, a clash of fundamental ideals. He uses Pokemon that resonate with his beliefs, including legendary Pokemon, which underscores his unique connection to them, the first encounter with ideals, and first appears after Team Plasma's rally, where Getsis preaches about Pokemon liberation, and approaches you stating his ability to hear Pokemon's voices and questioning if your Pokemon are truly happy in their Pokeballs. He then challenges you to a battle to test his ideals, and his team at Accumula Town has a Purloin at level 7. We meet him again at the Nakreen City Museum, and appears again, expressing his desire to see things no one else sees, and to understand the ideal for the Pokemon we keep inside balls. He challenges you to another battle, seeking to prove his truth. In Nimbasa City on the Ferris wheel, this is a unique non-battle encounter where N invites you to ride the Ferris wheel. He shares more about his past and his desire to create a world where Pokemon are free. This moment humanizes him, showing his genuine, albeit misguided, intentions on the path to Chargestone Cave. N battles you again, his team growing stronger. He's still convinced that his path is the right one, and he's actively seeking the legendary Pokemon to achieve his goals. We then see him at Dragon's Spiral Tower, and successfully awakens and befriends either Reshiram or Zekrom, depending on your game version. This signifies his growing power and the approaching climax of his ideological quest. We then meet him at N's castle. The climax of his story unfolds at N's castle, which rises from the Pokemon League. He engages the player character in a final epic battle, wielding either Reshiram or Zekrom. It is here that Getsis reveals his true manipulative nature, exposing the extent to which N has been used. This moment is one of realization and a heartbreak for N, as his entire worldview shatters. He realizes that Getsis never cared about Pokemon liberation, only about power. N's team at N's castle consists of Zoroark, Vanillix, Klinklang, Archeops, Reshiram/Zekrom. In the sequels, N has released his original Pokemon into the wild, and you can find and capture them. He still travels Unova, trying to figure out how people and Pokemon should coexist. He can be encountered and battled with his legendary dragon, seeking to understand the world and his place in it. And his Pokemon teams are unique, consisting of Pokemon that he encounters and connects with in the wild, rather than conventionally trained teams. His use of legendary Pokemon in the climactic battle highlights his unique connection to Pokemon and the epic scale of his ideological conflict with the player. His story is a powerful exploration of idealism, manipulation, and the search for truth, making him one of the most memorable and complex characters in the Pokemon series. Hugh, the rival in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, stands out as one of the most compelling and unique rival characters in the entire Pokemon series, unlike many of his predecessors who pursued the traditional goal of becoming the Pokemon champion, like Blue or Silver. Hugh's journey is driven by a deeply personal and emotionally charged quest, revenge and retrieval. This singular, powerful motivation shapes his entire character, his interactions, and his character arc. At the heart of Hugh's character is the incident 5 years prior to the game's events, where Team Plasma stole his younger sister's Purloin, a gift from their grandfather who had passed away, adding more significance. This act of theft and emotional violation instilled in Hugh an intense, almost singular hatred for Team Plasma. His entire being is consumed by the desire to get that Purloin back and to ensure that no one else suffers the same fate. This makes him incredibly relatable. His anger is justified, and his dedication to his sister's happiness is endearing. What makes Hugh unique as a rival is that his primary goal isn't to surpass the player. While he certainly maintains a competitive spirit and battles the player frequently, these battles often serve a dual purpose: to hone his own strength for his mission against Team Plasma, and to assess the player's strength, sometimes even pushing them to become stronger themselves so they can be a reliable ally. He's not trying to be the best for glory. He's trying to be the strongest to achieve justice. His competitive nature is often intertwined with his anger. He can be impulsive and hot-headed, especially when confronting Team Plasma. We see him charge headfirst into dangerous situations, often requiring the player's assistance. This impulsiveness is a direct consequence of his strong emotions, and highlighting his youth and the depth of his trauma. His hatred for Team Plasma is all-encompassing, all-encompassing. He sees all members, both the new and old members of Team Plasma, as equally culpable for the suffering they caused. This is particularly evident in his disdain for the reformed ex-Team Plasma members in Driftvale City. He struggles to comprehend why anyone would forgive them or even interact with them peacefully. However, as the story progresses and he encounters both the cruel reality of the new Team Plasma and the genuine remorse and efforts of the old Team Plasma, his perspective begins to shift. He witnesses the stark difference between Getzis' manipulative, power-hungry faction and the former members who were misled by N's ideals. This journey of understanding challenges his initial black and white view of the world. He eventually comes to terms with the complexities of human nature and the idea that people can change, ultimately accepting the aid of the reformed Plasma members. This maturity is a significant step for him in moving beyond vengeance. Despite his fierce demeanor and single-minded focus, Hugh is fundamentally a good person. He is fiercely loyal to the player, whom he views as a trusted friend and partner. He frequently battles alongside the player in multi-battles against Team Plasma, showcasing his trust and camaraderie. His protectiveness extends not just to his sister, but to all Pokemon, as seen when he scolds the owners of a lost Herdier at Fluxzy Ranch, underscoring his empathy born from his own painful experience. His relationship with his sister is a constant undercurrent throughout the game, the stolen Purloin, which evolves into a Leopard during their separation, but it can barely recognize him, and his unwavering commitment to her happiness. The emotional payoff of reuniting him with his sister and the recovered Leopards is a poignant moment in the story. Hugh's design, with his spiky blue hair and intense red eyes, perfectly conveys his fiery personality and unwavering determination. His battle music is often cited as one of the best rival themes, reinforcing his strong presence and the stakes of his journey. Hugh is far more than just a battle opponent. He's a dynamic character whose personal quest adds a layer of emotional depth to Black 2 and White 2. His journey from impulsive, revenge-driven youth to a more understanding, still passionate trainer is a compelling one. He represents the consequences of past conflicts and the long road to healing and forgiveness, making him one of the most memorable and well-developed rivals in the Pokemon franchise. In Generation 6, we meet with multiple rivals and friends: Shauna, Tierno, Trevor, and Callum, or Serena. Kalos introduces significant evolution in the rival dynamic by presenting not a singular rival, but an entire group of friends who journey alongside the player character. Each member of this group embodies a different facet of the Pokemon journey. Shauna is primarily focused on the emotional bond with Pokemon and experiencing the sheer joy of the journey. She wants to make fun memories. Tierno aspires to create a Pokemon dance team valuing rhythm, grace, and performance over raw power. He gets easily distracted by watching Pokemon moves, trying to incorporate them into dance. Trevor, driven by the goal of completing the Pokedex, valuing data, knowledge, and discovery. He's a shy bookworm whose aim is to aid Professor Sycamore, Callum, or Serena. The main battle rival, the opposite gender protagonist, who also strives to become champion, providing a more traditional competitive element within the group. They are your next-door neighbor. This ensemble of characters journeys together, consistently supporting and challenging each other, including the player character. They do not merely engage in battles, they offer gifts, provide encouragement, and celebrate the player's successes. Their challenges are less about proving superiority and more about fostering shared growth and camaraderie. The multiple rivals in Kalos represent a shift from singular rivalry to an ensemble cast. This multi-perspective approach demonstrates that the Pokemon journey can be a shared experience of collective growth and friendship rather than solely individual competition. It emphasizes the importance of a supportive community in achieving personal goals, adding a layer of social dynamics to the rival system. Furthermore, with Tierno aiming for a dance team and Trevor for Pokedex completion, the Kalos rivals further deconstruct the traditional become the champion goal. This diversity in aspirations suggests that success in the Pokemon world is multifaceted. It reinforces the idea that there are many ways to engage with and find fulfillment in the world of Pokemon, catering to different player interests and broadening the narrative scope beyond just battling. The Pokemon teams of the Kalos rivals reflect their individual aspirations. For instance, Tierno's team often includes Pokemon known for their grace or dancing abilities, while Trevor's team might prioritize Pokemon that help with Pokedex completion or represent diverse types. Shauna's team often includes a starter weak to yours, reflecting her focus on the journey and friendship over competitive advantage. The rivals in Gen 6 are not my cup of tea and don't really have that much depth in them, but let me know what you think in the comments. How from Generation 7, the grandson of the Kahuna. How is a character radiating pure sunshine and optimism. He possesses an incredibly joyful disposition, an enduring love for Malasada, and approaches Pokemon battles with a carefree, enthusiastic attitude. He is never malicious, consistently supportive, and genuinely celebrates the player character's successes. In a friendly twist, he chooses the starter Pokemon that is weak to the player's choice. He reminds you a lot of Barry from Gen 4. Despite his relaxed demeanor, How undergoes significant growth throughout his journey. He learns from his losses, not with anger or frustration, frustration, but with a renewed determination to improve. He eventually evolves into a formidable trainer, capable of challenging the Elite Four. His grandfather, Hala, the kahuna of Melamili Island, serves as a quiet, guiding influence, subtly shaping Hao's development. Hao's consistently positive and supportive demeanor creates a unique rival dynamic, where the player feels encouraged rather than threatened. This again shows rivalry can be a source of mutual positive reinforcement, showing that competition does not require antagonism to be effective for growth. His character emphasizes the joy of the journey and the bonds formed, rather than just the outcome of battles. Unlike rivals driven by trauma or intense ambition, Hao's growth is fueled by his sheer enjoyment of Pokemon and battling. This joyful approach demonstrates that significant personal and battling strength can be achieved through passion and fun, not solely through hardship or the intense pressure. It offers a refreshing perspective on motivation and success within the Pokemon world. In Iki Town, the first friendly battle takes place. Hao is introduced as soon as you arrive in Iki Town. He's excited about getting his first Pokemon and immediately challenges you to a battle. He chooses the starter that is weak to yours, a reversal of the traditional rival dynamic, emphasizing his friendly nature. After the festival, Hao battles you again. He's still cheerful, but his losses begin to subtly push him to improve, though he maintains his fun-loving attitude. Hao challenges you in Paniola Town, his team growing stronger. He's still supportive, but his determination to improve is becoming more evident. Hao's team at Paniola Town features a Pichu, Noibat, and your weak-type starter. We next see him at Melee City, where we battle him again. This battle marks a turning point for Hao. He's starting to take the island challenge more seriously, realizing that losing a battle because all you're really doing is having fun is, well, you can't let down your Pokemon when they're fighting their hardest for you now, can you? He begins to train more diligently with his grandfather, Hala. Hao's team at Melee City consists of a Pikachu, Vaporeon, Jolteon, or Flareon evolution, depends on your starter, Noibat, and your weak-type starter. Our next battle takes place at Mount Lanakila, the Pokemon League. Hao challenges you at Mount Lanakila just before the Elite Four. He's now a formidable trainer, having overcome his initial carefree attitude to become truly strong. He expresses that it's hard to be strong enough to admit that you're weak. Hao's team at Mount Lanakila, Alolan Raichu, Evolution Noivern, Flareon, your weak-type starter. In the post-game, Hao can challenge you for the champion title, showcasing his continued growth and dedication. He remains a supportive friend, celebrating your achievements even as he strives to surpass you. Hao's Pokemon team progression, particularly his signature Alolan Raichu, visually represents how a relaxed, positive approach can still lead to a powerful and effective team, reinforcing his unique character arc. His journey is a refreshing take on the rival dynamic, proving that competition can be a source of joy and mutual growth rather than antagonism. Gladion, the fiercely independent rival in Pokemon Sun, Moon. His story is steeped in familial complexity, a desperate desire for strength, and a compelling arc of self-discovery and eventual reconciliation. Unlike rivals motivated by simple ambition or friendly competition, Gladion is driven by a deep-seated need to protect, making his journey and interactions with the player particularly resonant. Gladion's backstory is central to understanding his motivations. He is the son of Lusamine, the president of the Ether Foundation, a seemingly shadowy organization dedicated to Pokemon conservation. However, beneath the surface of Lusamine's philanthropy lies an ultimately destructive obsession with the Ultra Beasts, creatures from alternate dimensions that first appeared through Ultra Wormholes. This obsession stemmed from the tragic loss of her husband and her subsequent belief that the Ultra Beasts held a key to seeing him again. Growing up in this wicked environment, Gladion witnessed his mother's increasing fixation at first hand. He also came to care deeply for a specific Pokemon created by the Ether Foundation, type Null. This artificial Pokemon was designed to be an anti-Ultra Beast weapon based on the god of Pokemon, capable of adapting to any opponent due to its RKS system and its various memory modules. However, the immense power and instability of type Null led to it being deemed a failure and subjected to restrictive control helmets that suppressed its true abilities and caused it considerable pain. Unable to bear witnessing type, Null's suffering and witnessing his mother's descent into obsession, Gladion made a pivotal decision. He stole type Null from the Ether Foundation, along with several memory drives. This act of rebellion and compassion set him on a path of self-imposed exile and a relentless pursuit of strength. He believed that by training himself, type Null, whom he later names Silvally after it breaks free from its control mask and evolves, he could protect it from his mother's dangerous experiments and potentially find a way to unlock its full potential to combat the Ultra Beasts. This theft and the protection of Silvally become the foundational elements of his identity and his journey throughout the Alola region. Type Null, bearing the weight of its artificial origins and restrictive helmet. Gladion's interactions with the player are complex and evolve significantly throughout the narrative. Initially, he appears cold and intensely focused on his own training. His battles with the player are not born out of playful competition, but rather a need to test his own strength and the progress of Silvally. He often offers curt remarks and seems dismissive, creating an initial impression of a brooding and distant figure. However, as the player progresses progresses and demonstrates their own strength and dedication to protecting Alola, Gladion begins to acknowledge their capabilities. He observes the player's interactions with other people and Pokemon, witnessing a genuine kindness and connection that contrasts with the trained and manipulative environment of the Ether Foundation under his mother's control. Crucially, the player's involvement in confronting Team Skull and later the Ether Foundation directly aligns with Gladion's own goals. While he prefers to operate independently, he often finds himself crossing paths with the player, sometimes reluctantly accepting their assistance, or even offering his own, albeit with a characteristic air of stoicism. These shared experiences, particularly their confrontations with the escalating threat of the Ultra Beasts and Lucamine's increasingly erratic behavior, forge a bond of mutual respect between them. As Silvally evolves after forming a strong bond with Gladion, Gladion's team composition begins to reflect a more confident and nuanced approach. Crobat, Silvally, now free from its helmet, representing Gladion's success in nurturing its potential. Its typing changes based on the memory module it holds, showcasing Gladion's strategic adaptability. A Lucario, Weevil. The climax of Gladion's personal journey arrives with the player's infiltration of Ether Paradise and the confrontation with Lucamine. As Lucamine's obsession with the Ultra Beast reaches its peak, fueled by Nihilego neurotoxins, Gladion stands alongside the player to try and reason with his mother and ultimately stop her destructive actions. These moments are emotionally charged, revealing the deep pain and conflict within Gladion as he witnesses the extent of his mother's delusion. Following Lucamine's defeat and the subsequent threat posed by the Ultra Beasts themselves, Gladion actively participates in the Ultra Beast response team, working alongside the player and other key characters to protect Alola. This marks a significant shift in his character. He moves from being a lone wolf driven by personal vengeance to a contributing member of a team dedicated to the greater good. In the aftermath, with Lucamine undergoing treatment and the Ether Foundation restructuring, Gladion takes on a more proactive role within the organization, working to rebuild its image and ensure its focus is genuinely on Pokemon conservation. He becomes a guardian figure for his mother and his younger sister Lily, demonstrating a newfound sense of responsibility and familial connection, albeit still tinged with his characteristic reservedness. Gladion's journey is a powerful story of rebellion against a flawed authority, the bond between a trainer and their Pokemon formed in adversity, and the slow but meaningful process of healing and reconciliation. He begins as a troubled youth, haunted by his past and driven by a singular, almost vengeful purpose. Through his interactions with the player, his experiences confronting Team Skull and the Ether Foundation, and the evolution of his relationship with Silvally, he gradually learns to trust, to rely on others, and to embrace his role in protecting the Alola region. His final appearances in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where he often aids the player in the Ultra Recon Squad storyline, further solidify his transformation into a reliable ally and a protector of Alola. He remains a fiercely independent individual, but his motivations have broadened beyond his personal vendetta to encompass the well-being of both Pokemon and people. Gladion's story is a testament to the idea that strength isn't just about powerful Pokemon, it's also about inner resolve, compassion, and the willingness to confront one's past and embrace a more hopeful future. His complex backstory, his unique bond with Silvally, his strained yet ultimately meaningful family relationships, and his evolving dynamic with the player make him one of the most memorable and well-developed rival characters in the Pokemon series. Generation 8. Hop is introduced as the younger brother of Leon, the undefeated champion of Galar. This familial connection immediately places immense pressure on him. He idolizes Leon, often mimicking his catchphrases and battle style. His entire journey is defined by his struggle to forge his own identity and emerge from his brother's overwhelming shadow. He initially picks the star to Pokemon weak to the players, mirroring the friendly rival trope. Hop experiences significant emotional highs and lows throughout his adventure. He starts with an almost unshakable overconfidence, but repeated losses, particularly to the player character in Bede, shake his self-assurance. He begins to question his abilities and the path he has chosen. In response, he experiments with different Pokemon and battle strategies, desperately seeking what truly works for him. His character is fundamentally shaped by his relationship with his famous brother Leon. Leon's overwhelming success creates immense pressure and a crisis of identity for Hop. This illustrates that even in a world of adventure, characters face relatable struggles with self-worth, living up to expectations, and finding their own unique path when overshadowed by a successful family member. His initial overconfidence and subsequent self-doubt are direct consequences of this burden. Hop's arc culminates in a powerful moment of self-acceptance. He realizes that his true path might not be to become champion, but to become a Pokemon professor, dedicating himself to supporting others' journeys. This decision represents a resolution to his identity crisis. His ultimate decision to pursue a career as a Pokemon professor instead of the champion title is a resolution to his identity crisis. This journey of self-doubt and exploration demonstrates that true success is not always about achieving the most prestigious title, but about finding a role where one can genuinely contribute and feel fulfilled. It reinforces the theme that there are many valuable ways to participate in the Pokemon world beyond battling, echoing Bianca's arc, but with a distinct emotional weight. Hop is introduced as Leon's brother, immediately setting up the pressure he faces. He's overly confident, believing he's destined for greatness because of his lineage. He chooses the starter weak to yours, and challenges you in the slumbering Weald. Hop battles you in Motostoke. Still confident despite early losses, he's eager to prove himself, but his overconfidence often leads to his defeat. This is a critical point. Hop loses badly to Bede, who taunts him, saying he's worthless and bringing his brother's name down. This deeply affects Hop, shattering his self-confidence and forcing him to confront his limitations. He begins to question everything. Hop starts experimenting with different Pokemon and strategies, trying to find his own style rather than just mimicking Leon. He's still struggling, but he's actively working on himself. Hop's team at Hammerlock, a Dubwool, Corvisquire, Pincurchin, Snorlax, your weak-type starter. We then meet him at Winden Stadium, the final test. Hop battles you in the Champion Cup, having come a long way. He's still aiming for the top, but his perspective has broadened. He's no longer just trying to be Leon. He's trying to be the best version of himself. Hop's Champion Cup team, a Dubwool, Corviknight, Pincurchin, Snorlax, your weak-type starter, and Zamazenta. After the main story, Hop realizes his true passion lies not in becoming champion, but in becoming a Pokemon professor. He dedicates himself to research, finding a fulfilling path that is truly his own. He can be battled in the post-game, often with a stronger, more refined team reflecting his new direction. Hop's Pokemon team changes significantly throughout his journey as he tries different strategies and Pokemon, visually reflecting his internal struggle to find his own identity as a trainer. This dynamic of team evolution makes his eventual path as a professor more impactful, showing he found his niche outside of direct competition. Marnie from Generation 8, the Spikemuth Star. Marnie is a popular trainer originating from the gritty Spikemuth City, instantly recognizable by her punk rock aesthetic and the unwavering loyalty of her fan club, Team Yell. Despite her somewhat intimidating appearance, she is surprisingly shy and soft-spoken. Her primary motivation is not personal glory, but a deep-seated desire to become champion in order to revitalize her hometown, which has been overshadowed by other, more prominent cities. Marnie is the younger sister of Piers, the Spikemuth gym leader and a former rock star. Their bond is strong, with Piers actively supporting her dream. Marnie's journey is characterized by quiet, steadfast determination, focused on continuous improvement for the sake of her community. Her battles are intense and engaging, yet she consistently maintains a respectful demeanor. Marnie's primary motivation is not personal glory, but the revitalizations of her hometown, Spikemuth City. Her dedication to her community demonstrates that a Pokemon journey can be driven by altruistic motives. However, her actual personality is shy and soft-spoken. This contrast shows that appearances can be deceiving, and true character often lies beneath the surface. It encourages players to look beyond initial impressions and appreciate the nuanced personalities of the characters they encounter. Marnie is first encountered in Motostoke, accompanied by her boisterous fan club, Team Yell, who try to obstruct other trainers to help her. Despite their antics, Marnie herself is polite and focused on battling. Her quiet determination is evident as she continues her journey, focused on improving for Spikemuth. Marnie's team at the mines, a Morpeko, Perrserker, and a Krogonk. Marnie is deeply connected to Spikemuth, and her goal is to bring attention and life back to her city. She battles you here, showcasing her resolve. Team Yell's actions are revealed to be out of loyalty to her and their town, not malice. Marnie is a participant in the Champion Cup, battling fiercely to achieve her dream of becoming champion for Spikemuth. She's a strong opponent, but always respectful. Marnie's team at the Champion Cup, Morpeko, Scrafty, Toxicroak, Leopard, and a Grimmsnarl. After the main story, Marnie becomes the new gym leader of Spikemuth, fulfilling her goal of bringing life back to her hometown. You can battle her daily in Spikemuth, and she gives you her a rare league card. Marnie's team is the gym leader, Morpeko, Scrafty, Toxicroak, Leopard, Grimmsnarl, Obstagoon. Marnie's Pokemon team, particularly her signature Morpeko and her focus on Dark-type Pokemon, is central to her identity and appeal. Tracking her team's evolution showcases her consistent battle style and her growth as a trainer, reinforcing her quiet determination and her unique aesthetic. Bede is one of the rivals in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and his character arc is a journey from arrogant privilege, humbled. His backstory and relationships with other characters are central to his development. Bede's story begins in an orphanage where he lived after his family encountered trouble. He was known for being difficult to get along with and would often get into fights. His life changed when he was visited by Chairman Rose of the Galar Pokemon League, who saw talent in him and gave him a Pokemon. Rose personally sponsored Bede's participation in the Gym Challenge, an endorsement Bede wears as a badge of honor. This connection to Chairman Rose is the foundation of Bede's initial personality. He is arrogant and believes his sponsorship from the most influential person in Galar makes him superior to other challengers, including the player and Hop. He is fiercely loyal to Rose and is single-mindedly focused on proving his worth to him, even at the cost of his own integrity. This is revealed when he goes on a quest to gather wishing stars for Rose, which leads him to his downfall. He destroys a historic landmark in Stow-on-Side. This act leads to his public disqualification from the Gym Challenge by Rose himself, leaving Bede feeling abandoned and without a purpose. Hop, and Marnie Bede's rivalry with the player is a classic classic jerk rival archetype. He is rude and dismissive, and his battles with the player are often a means to assert his perceived superiority. He doesn't see the player as a true rival, but rather as an obstacle to be overcome. His interactions with Hop are particularly pointed. Bede mocks Hop's reliance on his older brother, Champion Leon, and questions his ability as a trainer. This criticism hits a nerve with Hop, who is already struggling with the pressure of living in his brother's shadow. Bede's harsh words and a subsequent off-screen battle where Bede defeats Hop badly lead to Hop's temporary depression and self-doubt, ultimately forcing Hop to re-evaluate his training style and team composition. Bede's connection to Marnie is less direct than with the player or Hop. While they are both rivals in the gym challenge, their interactions are not as frequent or as personal. Marnie's focus is on bringing prestige into her hometown of Spikemouth, while Bede is focused on his personal ambition and proving himself to Rose. They don't have a close relationship, but they do share the experience of being gym challengers. After his disqualification, a dejected Bede is found by Opal, the fairy-type gym leader of Ballinley. Opal, who sees something in him despite his arrogance, decides to take him on as her apprentice. She forces him to take on the role of her successor, a position he reluctantly accepts. This marks a turning point in Bede's character. He changes his team from his initial psychic-type specialty to fairy-type Pokemon, reflecting his new role. Bede's teams reflect his character's journey. His initial team includes psychic types like Hatena, Gotita, and Solosis. This team represents his single-minded focus on power and his own elitist attitude. After becoming Opal's apprentice, his team transitions to fairy types. His key Pokemon include Mawile, Gardevoir, Galarian Rapidash, and his ace, Hatterene. This change shows his growth and adaptation, and his eventual pride in his new specialty. Under Opal's mentorship, Bede undergoes a subtle but significant transformation. While he remains prideful and a bit sharp-tongued, he begins to mature. He starts to value the strength of his new team and the trust placed in him by Opal. He no longer defines himself solely by his connection to Chairman Rose. In the post-game story, Bede battles the player once more as the new gym leader of Ballinlea. This final battle is not a test of superiority, but a legitimate challenge between two respected trainers. After his defeat, he had planned on using the battle as an excuse to quit being a gym leader, but the crowd's unexpected support makes him realize his new purpose. He accepts his new role with sincerity, vowing to become a master of fairy-type Pokemon and surpass even Opal, demonstrating that he has found a new, self-defined path forward. Bede's story is a compelling character arc about a flawed individual finding a new purpose and a genuine connection to both his Pokemon and his new community, moving beyond the shadow of a mentor who ultimately failed him. Nemona, Arven, and Penny from Paldea. Paldea introduces a revolutionary open-world structure with 3 distinct story paths, each centered around one of these compelling rivals, creating a rich tapestry of interconnected narratives that converge with the player character's journey. Nemona, the battle-obsessed champion pushing the player's limits. Nemona is a senior at the academy and already a champion-ranked trainer. She's utterly obsessed with battling and constantly seeks out strong opponents, finding immense joy in challenging others and pushing them to grow. She serves as the player's primary battle rival, always eager for a fight. In a unique twist, she picks the starter Pokemon that is strong against the player's choice, immediately setting a high bar for competition. She admits she feels lonely because she's so strong, and is attached to the player because they can finally challenge her. Arven, the culinary quest, the search for healing, and his bond with Mabosstiff. Arven is initially aloof, driven by a deeply personal quest to find Herba Mystica to heal his injured Mabosstiff. His journey is emotional and rooted in his love for his Pokemon. He functions more as a narrative rival, whose story intertwines with the players through the Path of Legends storyline. His battles are often undertaken reluctantly, but he is fiercely protective of Mabosstiff. Penny is a shy, introverted student who secretly leads Team Star, a group of rebellious students. Her story unfolds through the Starfall Street arc, gradually revealing her past experiences with bullying and her underlying desire to protect her friends. She is a rival with a hidden identity and complex motivations, and her battles feature her unique team of evolutions. Paldea's 3 main rivals are not just multiple characters. They represent distinct, interwoven narrative paths that the player can tackle in any order. This non-linear storytelling demonstrates that the Pokemon game narrative can be highly flexible and player-driven, moving beyond the traditional linear progression. It allows for a more personalized experience, where the player actively chooses which rival story to prioritize, deepening their engagement with each character's arc. Nemona's pure love of battling, Arven's deeply personal quest for healing, and Penny's mission to protect her friends and dismantle a bullying system represent the most diverse set of rival motivations seen to date. This variety in motivations illustrates that the Pokemon world is rich with different reasons for embarking on a journey. It significantly expands the thematic scope of the games, showing that a Pokemon adventure can be about personal healing, social justice, or pure competitive joy, making the world feel more dynamic and relatable to a wider audience. Nemona is the first character you meet, guiding you through the early parts of the game. She immediately challenges you to a battle, eager to test your strength, and chooses the starter strong against yours. Nemona frequently appears before gym challenges, eager to battle and push your limits. She's genuinely excited by your growth and the prospect of a strong opponent. Her battles are always intense, reflecting her passion. Her team grows with yours, always featuring her chosen starter and other strong Pokemon like Palmot, Lycanroc, and Orthworm. She has a full team of 6 by later encounters. After you collect all 8 gym badges, Nemona challenges you to a final assessment battle to determine if you're truly champion material. This is her ultimate expression of joy in battling a worthy opponent. Nemona's team right before the champion: Lycanroc, Palmot, Orthworm, Dunsparce, Arboliva, your counter-type starter, Arven's path, the path of legends. Arven initially seems distant, focused solely on his quest for Herba Mystica to heal his injured Mabosstiff. He's not interested in traditional Pokemon battles, only in his goal. You assist Arven in battling the Titan Pokemon to gather Herba Mystica. After each victory, he uses the herb to try and heal Mabosstiff, revealing his deep emotional connection to his partner. His battles are often reluctant, but he fights fiercely when Mabosstiff is involved. Arven's team primarily consists of Pokemon that help him on his quest, such as Scovelin and Greedent, alongside his beloved Mabosstiff. Arven's story culminates in Area 0, where he confronts his past and his parents' legacy. He battles alongside you, showing his growing trust and friendship. Arven's team: Mabosstiff, Scovelin, Toedscruel, Cloyster, Garganacl. Arven becomes a close friend, and his journey is a powerful narrative about love, loss, and healing. He can be found at the League Club in the Blueberry Academy DLC. Penny's path. Shy and mysterious. Penny is introduced as a shy, introverted student who avoids school. She's initially mysterious, only communicating through a hidden identity as the boss of Team Star. You challenge the various Team Star bases, unknowingly dismantling Penny's own organization. Her motivation is gradually revealed. She formed Team Star to combat bullying, and she's trying to disband it herself to protect her friends. Penny's team exclusively consists of evolutions, reflecting her unique connection to them and her desire to protect her friends. Penny reveals her identity and battles you, explaining her past and her reasons for creating Team Star. This battle is about acceptance and finding a way to move forward. Penny's final Team Star battle features an Umbreon, Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Leafeon, and a Sylveon. Post-game, Penny becomes a trusted friend, working to help Team Star members reintegrate into the Academy. She can also be found at the League Club in the Blueberry Academy DLC. The Pokemon teams of Nemona, Arven, and Penny are distinct and directly reflect their motivations and battle styles. Nemona's team is designed for competitive battling. Arven's focuses on Pokemon that might aid his quest, and Penny's exclusive use of evolutions underscores her unique identity and connection to her friends. Their interwoven stories create a dynamic and emotionally resonant narrative, showcasing the diverse ways individuals can find purpose and growth in the Paldea region. Pokemon Legends. Volo, at first glance, appears to be a friendly and eccentric merchant in the Hisui region. However, a deeper analysis reveals a much more sinister and complex character, one whose ambition and obsession with the mythical Arceus drives the entire plot of Pokemon Legends. He is a master manipulator, a formidable opponent, and arguably one of the most memorable antagonists in the series' history. From the very beginning of the game, Volo is presented as a helpful, albeit strange, ally to the player. He is a member of the Ginkgo Guild, a traveling merchant group, and constantly expresses his fascination with the region's ancient lore and legendary Pokemon. He is a constant presence, appearing at various points to offer advice, share stories about Sinnoh's myths, and even engage the player in casual battles. His polite, smiling demeanor and seemingly genuine interest in the player's journey are all part of a carefully crafted facade. Volo's interactions with the player are a long con. He consistently guides the player towards specific goals. Investigating the frenzied nobles, seeking out the plates, and learning about the Lake Trio, he feigns surprise and excitement when the player succeeds, all while covertly using their progress to further his own plans. He is essentially using the player as a pawn to gather all the necessary tools to summon Arceus, a task he is unable to do himself due to the game's mechanics. His friendly battles are not just for fun, they are tests to gauge the player's strength and to see if they are a worthy key to unlocking his ultimate goal. Volo's true nature is revealed in a stunning twist at the end of the game. After the player gathers all the plates and seemingly completes their journey, Volo confronts them. His friendly smile vanishes, replaced by a look of wild and unhinged obsession. He reveals that he was the one who caused the space-time rift above Mount Coronet, and he orchestrated all the game's major events, including the frenzied Pokemon, to draw out the player and the plates. This revelation completely recontextualized his character. His cheerful facade was a mask for a deep-seated, dangerous ambition. He wasn't helping the player out of kindness, he was using them as a tool. His entire character is a study in how obsession can corrupt even the most outwardly charming individual. His goal is not only to see Arceus, to control it and reshape the world in his image, believing himself worthy of such power. Volo's team is a reflection of his power and his true allegiances. He uses a formidable team of 6 Pokemon, each chosen for their strength and strategic value. Spirit Tomb. This ghost/dark type is a perfect representation of Volo's sinister nature, his team is a direct replication of Champion Cynthia's team in the future. Hisuian Arcanine, a powerful and fast fire/rock type that showcases his ability to command a variety of Pokemon. Roserade, a poison/grass type that provides status conditions and is a tricky opponent to face. Lucario, a fan-favorite fighting/steel type known for its speed and attack. Garchomp, a pseudo-legendary dragon/ground type that is notoriously powerful and a testament to his high-level training. Tugkiss, a fairy/flying type that provides great defensive support and is a strong special attacker. This well-balanced team is an incredibly challenging final boss fight, but it's only half the battle. After the player defeats his team, Volo reveals his true ace in the hole. He used the power of the Distortion World to summon the Renegade Pokemon, a creature he had been studying and using to create the space-time rift. His final battle cements his status as a villain on par with the likes of Cyrus and Ghetsis. He wasn't just a powerful trainer, he was an individual who sought to manipulate and control the very fabric of reality itself. Volo's character arc is one of the most effective and memorable in the Pokemon franchise. He is a villain who hides in plain sight, using a friendly and eccentric persona to fool not only the player, but the entire cast of characters. His downfall comes not from a lack of power, but from his hubris. He believes he is worthy of a godlike power, but he fails to account for the unbreakable bond between the player and their Pokemon. His defeat is a poetic justice, as his ambition and manipulation are ultimately undone by the very thing he sought to control, a world in which people and Pokemon can work together. The journey through the stories of Pokemon's rivals reveals an evolution in character design and narrative depth, from Blue, the original antagonist driven by pure competition, to complex figures seeking redemption like Silver, individuals overcoming personal challenges like Wally, and those finding their own unique paths like Bianca and Hop. These characters consistently enrich the player's experience. Others, like N, challenge fundamental ideals, while some, like Hao and the Kalos friends, simply share the joy of the journey. Their stories are a tapestry woven with threads of growth, friendship, intense competition, self-discovery, and at times, tragedy. They push the player character, offer support, and ultimately make the player's own journey richer and more meaningful. Rivals are far more than mere obstacles. They are essential characters who embody the core themes of the Pokemon universe. They demonstrate that strength is not solely about winning battles, but about perseverance, empathy, and the unbreakable bonds forged with Pokemon. They serve as a constant reminder that even competitors can be the greatest teachers and friends, shaping not just the player's team, but their understanding of the world and their place within it. The true heroes of Pokemon are indeed often the rivals who, through their own struggles and triumphs, push the player character to greatness and illuminate in the multifaceted nature of the Pokemon journey.